Hello, everybody. I'll give folks a few minutes to come on in here and we'll see what we can cook up in the kitchen today. I have been blessed today. Now, I know everybody has issues every now and again, and I surely have my own, but I ain't trying to have any today. We know all that can change. Let me share this off on my channel. Sometimes people want to know what's going on. It says I'm live. I can copy off this link. I think I can copy off the link. There it is. That share button. Share to your story. And then I'll paste that in there. There we go. So, how's everybody doing today? I'm doing okay. Let me go back to the other page. It's easier to read. I can make it. I'm doing okay. Hello, Central Florida. Hello from Maryville. Are you getting the storm? Let me pull up the radar here. That way, if I want to flip over here and see what's going on, I can do a little check while we're standing here. I was just sitting here and I can hear some rumbles of thunder seemingly around and about. That's outdated. There we go. Maybe I need to do a refresh on this. Sometimes a refresh is all we need to do to get what we're looking for, right? And regroup. There we go. So, hope everyone's having a great day once again. If you'll do me a favor, hit share, hit like, talk to me, and we're just going to have a little fun. I'm going to try to only keep this to an hour once again. So tonight, you know these boxed mixes. I love them. They make for some great flavor, and normally we bake them in the oven. But I'm going to add some of my own flavors to it that I think adds just a little bit. And that's going to be my garlic powder. And there's some of that salt-free seasoning. I thought I was about out of that. So I just want to add a little bit of this. It may already have some of that in it. Ingredients, salt, paprika, garlic. And then I'm going to add me a little bit of this. I have these large chicken breasts. Y'all know how big them things are sometimes. I may decide that I want to cut this up. I'm not sure yet. So we'll just see what we wind up with here. But I'm going to try to keep them in one big piece. And I've done a little bit of research. I'm going to cook them in the air fryer tonight. I'm not going to add any salt. We'll worry about the salt later. In fact, on that note, I have them brining over here, and they've been in the brine for about an hour. So what I read and studied about is the brine, if you put some salt in it, it'll actually soak into that meat. So when we put it in this air fryer, it's not going to dry it out, but we'll have something really juicy. So we want to keep it juicy so it's nice and moist, and what's left over I will take with me off to work tomorrow. So let me get my hands all washed here. I'm going to be dealing with chicken, so I'll have to turn the water on a little bit more. Let me grab these out. I know I'll need to, if I can get me some tongs. And it's going to take me probably 2 rounds to cook all this, because these things just get so big. There's 1. There's 2. 3, and 4. That is just a saltwater, cold saltwater brine. That is all that is. And that piece is big. I am going to split that one, I do think. Let me get my board out. I've been cooking with y'all so much, I haven't even had time to get it back in my little hole over there where I like to keep this one at. And I'm going to make homemade beanie weenies. Do y'all like homemade beanie weenies? But I've got just a regular vegetarian bean here. And I always thought Beanie Weenies were made with soybeans, so I did some research. These are actually navy beans. They're two different kinds of beans. I thought maybe the name would get intermingled. But my granddad, he farmed soybeans. And I remember one time we had some family from out of town, and he was going to take them out to show his farm. And he said, we're going to see the soybeans. And he goes, do you know what a soybean is? And they kind of looked like, nah, I'm not quite sure about that one. And he said, well, have you ever eaten pork and beans? Then you eat soybeans. So, I don't know, maybe they intertwine them in these things here. This is actually one of those off-brands, but it says navy beans, water, sugar, tomato paste, vinegar, salt, onion powder, and garlic powder. And instead of hot dogs, I got me a leftover little package of little Smokies there. So that's what we're going to do. Let me work on some of this meat here. So it's not so big. Let's see, that's the big piece. That's the big bad boy right there. I'm gonna slice that in half. Just like that. So these are boneless, skinless chicken breast. That piece doesn't look too bad. That's about the same size as that. This one's a little thicker up here up top. Why don't I go ahead and just make that easier on us? And then that piece is about the same as that. So I'll cook all of those together, and I'll cook these two together, so that hopefully we get an even cooking field here. I've got my air fryer set, I want to make sure I tell you right, on 375, and it says that we're supposed to be able to cook these for 16 minutes if they're large, and I consider this a large. I don't know what they're feeding chickens these days, but that is large in my opinion. So again, I'm not going to do any salt right now because they've been in a salt brine, and if I was not going to take the leftovers to work, I would add me a little cayenne pepper onto this. But this is just a regular, you know what the name brand of it is, but I buy it off brand. Try to save a little bit of money. Now what I want to do, while I got these two here, is I'm going to spray the top. That's not where the spray is. Kyle, get it together. Thought I had all this thought out. Apparently not. Apparently not. So let me spray that a little bit, just so that crusts up a little bit. While that hand's already messy, we got 7 minutes left on that. I'm going to cut it off, we'll cut it back on, lift it back up. 16 minutes is what we want. Now halfway through, we're going to turn right back around and flip these over and see what happens. That crust has come off the bottom. That water was still in it, but that's okay. We'll start that off. Remind me, I know how to do this. That thing will remind me what to do in 8 minutes. Get that coated real nice. Stick that right back on that same plate so I don't have to wash another one. I'm having drumsticks. I have done this with drumsticks, but it seemed like I was wanting this. It would be a little easier for me to put in those carry-out brands. I get asked about my air fryer all the time. Now I had one a couple years ago, a different brand, and I will tell you that I did not like the way it did, the way I like what this one does. This is a New Wave, and it seems to do the job a lot better. Maybe I've also learned how to cook in it a little bit better as well. So sometimes you just have to tinker with your appliances and see what nuances they have and see what works for you in your kitchen. And this one works well. It fits right under that cabinet there. On one side I've got this and all of its toys and gadgets. I've got a few other little things under there that we use from time to time. And on the other side is our Instapot, which you know I love the Instapot. We could put that in there too. It just won't get that crisp on it. We're going to try to get these nice and crispy so it's almost like we fried them. So let me do that a little bit. I just wiped this countertop, so I'm going to have to clean it again, aren't I? You know? It's okay. But the main thing about this is to get that on there. I'm going to save a little bit for that side over there that messed up, and I'm assuming the side of this plate's going to mess up on us too, because I've got that little bit of water that just kind of hung on down there. And so what I do when I'll flip them, I'll put a little bit more of that on it. There's a little teeny piece. It's just going to cook up. That'll be a little crunchy. Of course, let me wash my hands. I'm going to need to get a new board here too. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with these beanie weenies. Then I didn't know what I was going to have for a side. And I got on the phone with Mom and we kind of talked through things. And I said, you know what? I think I got a can of beanie weenies back there. And it didn't have any beans in it. And she said, well, you can make your own. I'll put that over there so I get that washed off. We don't have to worry about contaminations or anything like that. So there's my chicken. I'll move that on out of the way. Let me scrounge around and find the pot I want to use. I don't want that one. That would be a big old pot for us to cook them things in. I'm still missing that lid. Y'all find it. We got too much in there today. We got to go through sometimes. Clean out our stuff. Y'all like my apron? Y'all kept saying, Kyle, you need an apron. Got me one. I got coughed on that one. Hello, Myrtle Beach. Hello, Diana. Hope you're doing well. So, in this little situation, these are supposed to have cheddar in them. So I'm going to see. I read, Mom said you put some different things in it, and I'm going to do that. And what I was reading up about, there we go, is we're going to put some things in here. But this already has some of it. It told me to put ketchup in here, but this has a tomato paste, so I don't think I need to put any more of that in. Let me get that off my hand. There we go. So this is going to cook up quick. I probably could have used a little bigger pot. I've got another knife over here I can use. And I'm just going to cut these up, see what we got. I can't see no cheddar in that. So that'll be fine. Give us just a couple of little beans mixed around, making our beanie weenies. And I read while I was doing my research, before I got on here and looked like a fool with you all, is it said to top this off with some cheddar cheese. So if this cheese melts into it anyway, I was already going to melt some cheddar cheese into my beans. But what I will try to do is to get some of the flavor of some of these other things that I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put some Worcestershire sauce if I can find it. I said it that time. Worcestershire sauce. Not thinking about it. You know, we had a news story on, it could have been a year or two ago now at this point. And it was, how do you pronounce the name of that sauce? And they had all kinds of people up there trying to say it. And I finally said, I'm just going to say it the way I know how to say it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I can't help you with that one. But they went to the town where it originated from, and they came up with the way you're supposed to say it. And I believe it is Worcestershire sauce, but we're going to say it my way. That'll be okay. So the only thing I need is some of that. Y'all know I'm not going to measure. Oh, I hear my chicken sizzling. And when I get done with this, I might add some of that ketchup they were talking about. Worcestershire. Oh. There we go. All right, measure it. We'll taste it and see. It was sealed together. And it said just regular old mustard. If you've got Dijon or something like that, I think that'll be fine too. I think I do want to put a little bit of ketchup in there just to add. And it also said to add, that's about right. It also said to add garlic. I see my hot sauce in there. You want me to try that? Oh, I got my garlic over here, don't I? Yeah. I might just use the rest of that. That'll be fine. All right. So that's what it looks like. Just got it in there. I'll put it on my stove. And the best part about this is I only got one pot to clean up. Let me turn that on and let that cook and marinate and do its thing. And I'll spray that on there whenever I get back over. Now I can read your comments, I think. Because all we're going to do is just let this cook. And I'm going to watch the storms. It looks like it's still sun shining out there. Just got an announcement for severe thunderstorm warning in Ohio. Well, I hope you be safe. This will always live on Facebook, so if you want to hunker down or do something like that, if you're watching on your phone, you can take it with you. But if you need to get those warnings and alerts, it's always good to do that. Beanie Weenies are best. I use Bush's baked beans, Nathan's hot dogs, cut it up. The time, easy, simple dish. That's why we like it, right? There goes my first 8 minutes. So let's flip this over. Let me get this out of here. I'm always worried this is going to burn my countertop, and I don't want to do that. It's so pretty. And we worked so hard. We did this ourselves when we first moved in here. Let me do that. Where's that stuff at? Yeah. I'll get my back from around you. We'll do that. Kind of came off the bottom of those a little bit. But that'll be okay. And I'll spritz it one more time. All right, let's let it go for 8 more minutes. And we'll see what happens. Well, I'll kind of poke them and see if I think they need to stay for just a little bit longer. Some brown sugar in there too. Yep, that would be good. Wash your sister sauce. That's how I have to remember that. Wash your sister sauce. Storm went around us in Sweetwater. That is good. So, you know, we had a rough evening yesterday with some of those storms. We had a lot of trees down. And I made a post earlier today and I said, a lot of people kind of said, why didn't y'all tell us about tornadoes? Well, it doesn't have to be a tornado by classification of the National Weather Service or meteorological terms for it to be bad. One tree that comes down on your house is going to be a big problem for you, especially if you've got to clean up afterwards or it damages the house or something like that. So that's why I always say, even in a severe thunderstorm or one that's maybe not even severe, if you've got trees around your house, you should pay attention to it. And if you ever have the opportunity, I know it gets expensive to trim things away, but if you have the opportunity, go ahead and move those limbs and get them trimmed back so that it doesn't create a problem where that's falling down on your home or your property. Let me scroll back up here, and I've got this phone here in case I need to get an alert on anything. Let's see here. Oh, I just do the off-brand, but you know we had the Bush's bean plant not far away. So if you're ever in the area, I know a lot of you come and visit Sevier County, Tennessee. We're just outside of Sevier County. You drive outside of Sevierville and you go to an area that's called Chestnut Hill. And it's a small little community. Really, the only thing that's there is the Bush's bean plant. And I will tell you, stop in for lunch and have lunch there, because you will enjoy what you had. Last time I was there, I had this chicken salad. It was a salad, a bed of salad, and it had a chicken breast on it. I'm not sure if it was fried or grilled or what, but the salad dressing was phenomenal. They brought us the bean pie, the desserts. I said, what is that? I looked across and one of my friends said, had ordered one of the desserts, and I said, I told you I didn't want the dessert, but if he's getting that, I want what he's having. And so we tried it. We split it with the table. So it was good. So they have a good little cafe there that you can have lunch, have a bite to eat, and you learn also in the history part, they also have a museum. So you learn how the whole Bush's bean thing came about. And it's right there in Chestnut Hill, Tennessee. And I'm told from people who live around there, when they're making a certain kind of bean or something like that, there was 15 of us. Patricia, you went there today over to the bean plant? You know, they tell me that they can smell, and the whole neighborhood smells of it. But they make so many different kinds of beans, and I do have to give them a shout out, because volunteering at the food ministry, they call us up and help us out to get some food and canned goods and things for our food ministry that we do in Sevierville. So they're really a really good community partner. But anyway, you can learn all about the Bush's bean family, how it all got started. It's a really interesting story. You kind of walk through, you can talk to some of the staff, buy some souvenirs if you want to, grab that bite to eat. And by the way, I have seen Duke there. He's not talking. And the staff is not going to tell you what the secret family recipe is. So that's where things stand with that. Hello, Ainer. What seasoning are you using? I have picky eaters in my house, and it looks like something they would like. Seasoning for the chicken. So my main coating here was, it's called Easy Bake at Kroger, but you know what it is, shake and bake. And so you just moisten them, and I'm doing the air fryer method here tonight, just to have something a little different, just so we're not waiting around in the oven. It says 6 to 8 pieces of chicken, boneless, would be 20 minutes. I guess it's about the same, because I'm going to do, I would have 4 pieces. So, and it's that boneless breast. So, we're going to check it out and see what happens with that. But that's the basics, and I added the garlic and whatever your family likes. If they don't like garlic or onion powder or anything like that, you know what I always say, leave it out. You could always sprinkle it on there later, or maybe your 1 or 2 pieces that you want. Just remember which ones are the ones that you were cooking for yourself, if you do like that. Let's see here. What's going on? I found an apron. Yes. I just kind of dug around. I knew I've had an apron here. I told you I've got a funny one too. I might dig that out for you one day when I'm wanting to be funny. But with so much serious stuff going on around, I just didn't want to be too casual with all the serious stuff, especially with the storms coming, and I may need to post something about that. But anyway, found the apron, put it on. I've got it ready. I've already got it stained on it. So I'm going to stick it in the washer when I'm done and get it nice and clean. And maybe I'll bring out that funny apron one day and I'll wear that as well. Okay, maybe I'll get a laugh out of it. Howdy from Richland, Mississippi. So anyway, a couple of things. Got to work this morning and immediately discovered that there was a terrible accident on Interstate 40. It took, gosh, all the morning to get the lanes back open. I think they were still partially closed when we were in our 10 a.m. news, and we started at 7. So a pretty bad wreck. 2 people died. Prayers for their family. I just learned of another accident in Great Smoky Mountains National Park where I don't have the details on that one, so I'm not going to talk about that one. But anyway, someone has died there from a vehicle accident here this afternoon. So prayers for them. And let's see, I posted about that bear, and then I got a text a couple of hours later. And so what I'm going to tell you is that bear, people were talking about that trash bin that was open, which what turns out to be the grease pit. Well, it's broken, the lid that covers it over, but what you don't see in the picture that I can tell you I verified, they have a grate over that. So that bear, well, he can look in there all he wants to, he cannot get in there to that grease. So he's protected from that. So I found that out, and the bear can't get to the grease. And while I was talking to Mom, that was when I was getting that information, and I said, we reckon he was going to drink that grease? That doesn't sound very good. And she said, it probably tastes like some kind of meat or something. And yes, it'll taste good to him. He won't know that he's not really getting anything nutritious as long as it tastes good, right? So we have to watch out for the bears. I know we've had a lot of bear encounters, but literally I've seen tourists like holding food outside of the car. Don't do that. That's not a good idea. Or even throwing out your apples or anything like that. That looks really good. Let me punch that for a minute. I want to give that another minute. I want to give that another minute. I don't trust chicken like that. So anyway, I think sometimes people visiting don't realize that just throwing out that apple core, and I have asked when I've spoken to the Park Service or someone about, well, why can't they have the rest of the apple? You know, I'm not going to eat that. And what's wrong with that? Well, our human scent is now on that apple. It's on that banana peel. It's on the bag of nuts. And so they start relating the scent of us to that food. And we become the food source. So they think that we have food for them, as opposed to just getting it freely out in the wild. Yes, they would go find the berries or the apple tree or something like that. But they start relating food, almost like your dog. So think about your dog. If you never give them human food, they never know what's going on, whatever. It may smell good to us or whatever. Oh, stir the beans. Thank you. They're not sticking yet. Luckily, I got this non-stick pot. All right, that's breaking down really well. We'll put that back to a medium. I had it on high. Thank you for that. I don't know, maybe you saw them off in the distance doing their thing there. I'm going to turn them down a little bit because I want them to at least simmer and get those flavors marinated together. So anyway, that's the story of the bears. I've done a story before. Oh, these folks were on vacation. And that bear, the bears know how to open car doors. They can open your house doors, a sliding door, anything like that. So we have to just lock the door, even at the house, or if you're renting that cabin, go ahead and lock that door when you're inside so the bear can't come in. They smell the food. They want to, get in there where that is. So this person had left the McDonald's bag in their car. So you think about it. You've thrown a McDonald's bag away in your house or in your garbage can at work, or your neighbor did, your coworker, and you walk by and you smell it, and you know what it was immediately because it has that scent. And that bear smelled that bag. It was just a bag with some wrappers. I bet he got all the leftover cheese or something off of it. But when he was ready to get out of that car and that door closed on him, no. So he shredded that car all the way down to the pure metal inside. There was nothing left on the seats. The dashboard was completely ruined. I mean, the guy even looked at me and said, I don't know what I'm going to tell my insurance agency. I'm sure they will total it, but he didn't know what they were going to say. But he told them that the bear got in there and destroyed them like that. Cooking segment. I don't know if we can do a cooking segment anymore. We took out the kitchen set, so we don't have that anymore. So I don't know how that would work. Maybe we'd have to partner with a restaurant or something. And let's see here. Another comment came in earlier. I wanted to, if you could send us some of that wet weather west to Crossville, we'd appreciate it. You still need rain in Crossville. You may get some later on this evening, at least more. So let's see. Prattville, Alabama. There was a bear in a friend's car a few days ago in Gatlinburg. Oh, did it destroy their car? Nice shirt. Thanks for the shirt. Been to Indiana. Amish this weekend. What time are the storms coming in? And I'm thinking you're talking about East Tennessee. We do have another batch that that might have been, or is that the neighbor? Sometimes they have loud music. I thought that was a rumble of thunder. But anyway, we have storms coming later on this evening. I would say around 9 to 10 o'clock. East Tennessee folks, you should check back with your First Alert Weather app. and see where the storms are. There are indications that they could be on the stronger side, and I know some of you start going to bed like I do, and you don't get to listen. So turn your phone on so you get those notifications immediately. It looks like our batch of storms continue to move east. We've got another batch down in southeastern Kentucky. I'll just kind of check all this real quick. I don't want to cook that anymore. Okay, that looks good. Let me get a fresh plate. Oh, what am I going to get this with? I thought I had another spatula. Let me grab these and put more in. That looks kind of good. Oh, you come on there. I don't want to lose that goodie off of that. All right. So I'm going to put in a few more pieces. These, because they're smaller, I think I might be able to get all them in here. Some of you women folk might come over and show me how I would do it, that I won't have to have such a big time-taking task here. Let me spin that around, do that like that, and do that like that. I'm going to spritz these one more time, and we'll let them go. Let me turn my time back up. Set my timer. Let it go. Look how pretty that is. It smells good. It smells really good. All right, so let that rest for a minute. So anyway, check back with us later to see about the storms. I can watch this again to see what's going on. It's making me watch an ad. Wouldn't you know it? So, let me look at the beans again. That's what smells good in here. Yeah, I'm going to definitely have to stir it because they want to stick to the bottom. That's created a nice, thick sauce. It is really nice. I'll tell you, that's a really nice sauce there. Leave that down on low. So, let's see here. I saw something from Loris earlier. Hello, everybody in Loris. Mom said y'all are getting storms tomorrow, and I think, yeah, I did see that. Some bad storms tomorrow for you all. So be careful with that. Here was something else. Want to cook collards and cornbread with you in the fall. Loris grows great collards. I know they do. I hope I get down sometime in the fall so that I can get me some. I'll bring a big old head of them all the way up here. I'll try to find some friends that'll come over and help me with it as well. All right. Adam, we should have some more storms later on this evening, rolling back through. I would say 9, 10 o'clock. You're still in Sevier County, Kodak, I believe. So I would pay attention around 10 your time. Maybe a little bit before, just in case they speed up. There's a batch in Kentucky that's kind of diving down. That's what we're going to watch here. We've had some pretty good heating. The winds are starting to blow. Wow. Maybe we are going to get a storm here in just a second. We might step outside and see what we can see. Or maybe I'll open my door. Let me just do that first of all. Yeah, it's still blue skies out there where I'm at. So, still blue skies here. Let's see here. Prayers for everybody in the way. Stay safe from the storms. I like the apron. My daddy drove a truck, picked up produce from bushes, and hauled back to North Carolina. There you go. Richland, Mississippi. I think I've talked to all of you about that. Nasty storm in Pigeon Forge yesterday. If you've not seen the video, I did share the video of what happened at the station. We heard this loud crash. It felt like the roof was going to fly off. And we think maybe lightning struck somewhere near. That's what we were thinking. Then we had that tree come down. The winds were whipping around. And, sometimes when you see that, you get into a tunnel. and it creates that effect. But there would not have been a tunnel because this was across the parking lot, how things were whipping around. So it was a pretty testy time. I like storms. A lot of times I do sit here with the door open, but I'm also trying to pay attention. If it gets too bad, I'll close the door. Because, you know, I've done pieces before. Your doors and windows are the most vulnerable place on your house. And the absolute most vulnerable place is your garage door. And so if one of those were to happen to go, which is why I would like to close it so I can keep that storm door closed, but then I have the interior door to protect us as well from that. But once that wind gets in your house, it's just easy for it to lift your roof up. So sometimes I'll just sit here and watch, and if it gets too bad and I get a little nervous or anxious, I will close everything up. And I remember when I was little, when we had a thunderstorm, Mom would say, "Okay, the Lord's doing His work. We're gonna shut it all down," and we would turn off all the TVs, all the lights. We would get a blanket, and we would sit on the couch, lay on the couch all together. When we were little, when we got bigger, we had to go. We didn't have to, I guess, but we went to our bedrooms and found different games and things to play. But yeah, we did y'all ever do that? I don't know if people practice that anymore, but that's what we would do. We would have to sit in quiet and listen to the Lord do His work, and so that's how we did it then. I got 3 more minutes on that. I still want that to simmer a little bit more. So I got it on a good low there. Just watching it to make sure it's not sticking anymore. Yeah, I got it low enough that it's going to be good. That Worcestershire sauce. I can smell that. I didn't think about putting the mustard in it though. So I'll see if I like the mustard. I'm just following instructions here on this one because I would just went and bought me a can of Beanie Weenies or eat the beans like so, and I said, well, that's not real pork and beans, is it? So we have a lot of strong winds and hurricanes. Well, I hope you're doing well on the Outer Banks. We always did during the storms. My mama would raise the window a little, so that way if it got really bad pressure, it wouldn't build up in the house. The pressure is not what you want in the house. That's why we should keep it out. They've done some studies. There's a research facility in South Carolina. Is it Ridgeland, something like that. I've been a couple of times. And they actually have done studies where one little crack allowed that wind to get in, and it just was able to disintegrate that entire house. And so if we're in it, I have 2 rooms that are in the interior here, so that I could be protected, get in that bathtub. You probably don't have time to pull the mattress in there. I have a king-size mattress. I'd have a hard time pulling that across the hallway to the bathroom. But get in the bathtub. Fortunately, we're not expecting tornadoes or anything like out in Oklahoma and stuff. I know some of you do watch from Oklahoma and out in Missouri, and you have some pretty bad tornadoes out there. I've seen reports where you should have a football helmet ready just in case to put on. What about I don't know where Winoma, Mississippi is. I wish I could help you out there. I'm not sure about that one. I'm just a little East Tennessee weatherman here. So, do you have to go to work when there is bad weather? I could potentially get called. Hey, it's gotten really bad. Could you come in? So that's happened. Usually, I would stay at work if I thought it was going to be bad. That was what I was going to answer. Someone said, "What are you watching tonight?" I don't have anything to watch tonight. I don't know. Usually on the weekends, I do have some things to do. Earlier in the summer, I was out on the lake, so I was never watching TV. But, you know, I'm trying to go to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. So this is going to be about it for me. I might put on something to fall asleep to or try to wind my brain down, if you will. But for the most part, I don't know that I'm going to watch anything tonight. I might go back and, by the time I read all of your comments and try to respond to you, and by the way, if I don't, anyway, By the time I finish that, I'll be ready for bed. But if I don't respond to you, nothing offensive, but sometimes Facebook hides your messages. So when I go back to read, I can't see them until I actually get to the computer. So when I'm just sitting around watching Andy Griffith or something like that, I scroll and try to read messages and respond to people as I see them, but Facebook has a mind of its own. As some of you know, from the years that you've been on it, you wonder why can't you see something. Now see, this stayed on a whole lot better. Maybe it's because I knew what I was doing this time. Oh, that one didn't. It fell right off on me. That one's wanting to. And that one's okay. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do. I know how I'll fix this one. Spritz these a little bit more. And I'll put the rest of my stuff on it. When I first saw that package, I thought, that's never going to do. All my pieces of chicken here. I'm going to have something without it. But it did. I don't know how they learn how to measure them packets like that, but as you can see, I've even got a little left. Not much. I got a little bit. All right, we'll throw that back in and let it roll. And then we'll be in business for dinner and lunch tomorrow. Let me see some food. Here's my chicken that's already came out. I'm letting it rest. I've told y'all I need those donations so that I can put me a camera up here and I can let you see that. Give you a three-dimensional view. Let me stir my beans one more time. I kind of think I want to put a little bit of water in here. I do. Just a little bit of water. That's a little thick for me. I want to loosen it up a little bit. There we go. That's how I want it. You see this side right here? It's very thick. A little thinner. Plus, as this sits here anyway, it's going to evaporate out, so that'll be fine. I didn't put enough in there to hurt it. Still got that on low. All right, let's see what else y'all are asking about. I watched Gunsmoke, The Wind Down. Was that? Oh, it went away. At night. Well, I think Mom's proud of me, but she doesn't watch. She doesn't have Facebook, so I don't know. She just hears what some of you all that know her and Loris will say to her. I think she's kind of caught off guard when you stop her in the grocery store or something, and you're like, that looks so good, what Kyle was cooking the other night. And she'll be like, what did you cook? Because I don't know. I don't have Facebook. Sometimes I'll take a picture for her and share with her. Did you move, or is this the same kitchen you've been cooking in? This is my same kitchen. Now, when I'm live, it's reversing the image. That's a Facebook thing. And the last time when I flipped my camera around so that it was the right way, per se, you said you couldn't hear me. So, the same kitchen. I have been at my best friend's house cooking before, so if you've seen me there, where the cabinets are gray, kind of. That's where you'll see me at. Let's see. Someday I'd love to tour of your village, houses on top of your cabinets. I love that. I will give you a tour, and as of the last time that I did this, most of them have come from my grandmother's house after she passed, and so that's why I kept them kind of sentimental to me. I thought one day, I've got a corner over here. I'm going to find me a big table that I can put them on and make them like a real village with a train that rolls around it. And I'll have that at Christmas. And I think that'd be really cool. Let's see some food. I've already done that for you. Check your air fryer. It's fine. Anything to eat tonight? Yep, we're going to have a lot. Maynardville. I've not been to Maynardville in quite a while. I had to drive through for a news story the other day, but I haven't been to visit in a while. Go Braves. My dad will be right there cheering the Braves on with you. My mom was terrified of storms. She would have us turn everything off and unplug. And, you know, it seems like the storms used to be worse to me. Now, I know that we have a lot of damage, but I always felt like some of those pops of lightning, thunder, seemed to be worse to me when I was a child. And I don't know if it's because I was younger and my ears maybe were more sensitive, but it just seemed like the storms were worse then. But we do have still the damage today, and I don't know if the damage is because we built things up, and so there's more trees to fall down on people. We were having thunder in central Georgia. I love that, Kyle. Do you live in Pigeon Forge? You know, I used to live in Pigeon Forge. I started in Knoxville, then moved to Sevierville. Then I moved to Pigeon Forge, and now I'm out towards Seymour, for those of you who know that. Any storms for Greenville, Tennessee? You may actually have some of those. You're going to be a little bit later, the ones I was talking about for Knoxville and Kodak, but the threat is there to have some storms and pretty good amounts of rain as well. So we just need to keep checking. Wish I could pause and come back. It always lives on Facebook, so go back and scroll through my feed. Click my name, scroll through the feed, and then you can come back and finish what's going on. You know what I can probably do? I can go ahead and try some of this out. Somebody said, is that crispy chicken? And I'm going to put those beans in this. Got 3 minutes left on that. We'll go ahead and fix us a little plate here, let the beans get to where I can eat them. I'm just sitting and talking. And here I am, 6:47. I told you it was not going to keep you past an hour. So there's the way the beans turned out. My cheddar beanie weenies, I guess you would say. I'm going to have to get me a fork. I'll get this piece right here. So it should be good and crispy for me. You know what I'm going to have? This cucumber. I'm going to finish it off. I'll scrape it right here. And this will be my little meal tonight. And I'll let y'all go about your business. Let's see what else we got here. They look good. They look delicious. So our chicken, from the way it's supposed to be juicy. The reason I didn't add salt was that brine was supposed to soak some of that salt in, and the salt's supposed to help us get moisture in our chicken. So when we're cooking it in this air fryer, it's not completely dry. And of course, tomorrow when I pop it in the microwave at work, I don't want it to be dry there either. So, do that. Let me rinse this off just in case something got on it. It's not a knife I normally use, but it was the one laying there. And get my kitchen cleaned back up, and then go back and read the comments I missed. All right, so there's how we'll plate that. What do y'all think? That bowl is a little big for what I just did there, but there we go. Serving it up. We've done it very fast. I probably took longer because you were all with me than if I was just doing it on my own. Give me a little steak knife. I'm going to try that other stuff with a spoon when it cools down a little bit more. All right, so we're going to go into our chicken. All right, that is done. I actually see the juices that are there. It's good and done. There goes the rest of it. Those are the pieces I cut in half. Yes. It's not too salty. Because one thing I told Mom, I said, okay, I read how to do this. but I'm worried it's going to get too salty. How do I know how much salt's going to soak into that meat? But I guess that's why it suggested 30 minutes to an hour. So there's my chicken. I want more of that. All right. Let me get it. Beans and the weenies. Y'all are so much fun to hang out with. One day we're going to figure out how to do this in person. That is good. It is so much better than those cans. Of course, now they'll do it in a pinch. If I would have had a can, that's what I would have opened up tonight. Y'all know what that cucumber's gonna taste like. See, I can't stop with this now. It's the problem. I get to going, and I want to finish it. So, let me just read a couple more comments. We still got some of you hanging on. Need some cornbread with those beans. I bet that would be good. Y'all say y'all like a lot of cornbread. No, I didn't have cornbread growing up. We had biscuits. Now, sometimes we did have cornbread. And I've been wanting to do it the way my grandmother did it. She didn't bake it in the oven. She would make her a cake on top of the cast iron skillet. And then somehow she'd take that pan, she'd let it firm up on one side, and she'd take that pan and do like that and flip it. And then brown the other side. And it would come out about that thick. Not a big thick cornbread, but about that thick. And we'd slather that thing with butter, and we would eat our greens or our beans or whatever we wanted. It was not Jiffy. This was straight up home. She might have ground it herself for all knows why. I don't know how to do it these days. You like cooking better than doing the weather. Well, the weather pays the bills. This is just for fun. I just wanted to hang out with you all. So thanks for sharing your videos. Mama did like cornbread. Do you ever use an air fryer? I just cooked everything in the air fryer. That's how everything got cooked here tonight, other than the beans. But yeah, we use the air fryer a lot. Cornbread and biscuits too. I like thin cornbread. So maybe we'll make some biscuits and cornbread one day and we'll all do it together. Got to figure out how I can see you all. You can see me and I can read your comments. Maybe we'll do a Zoom. We can Zoom with everybody and everybody can chime in and talk back to each other. Do y'all Zoom or Teams? I have to figure out if there's a way I can do that. All right. So let's see here. 7 minutes to go. 7 minutes to go. I'm just going to step outside. If you want to, you saw the food. And again, what I find to be the problem with doing these lives is you're not going to know how to go back and search for this. So I'm going to have to make this again and make a single video for you. So let's see what we got out here. That was loud. I hear them cicadas going. Let's see here. We do have one little dark cloud there, but that's not going to be anything. We'll watch and see. There's my little home sweet home sign. And my lilies. I've got to get my grass cut. That's all in of itself, but I don't do it. I'll pay somebody. I always say in the middle of summer when it's 80 and 90 degrees, that's the best $50 I spent. And I'm going to cut something else out. We just had a storm and a half. You had a half a storm? You got to teach me what a half a storm is. I might use that on TV one day. Just pull up your latest video and find you. That's fine. But what I'm saying is 6 months down the road, you might want to go, well, how did he do that? And you won't be able to find it. So that's why I want to figure out how to save the videos a little better. There's got to be a way to download it and maybe put it on YouTube. It could live on YouTube, I think. And that wouldn't harm anything. So let's see. Love your house. I appreciate that. I pay to have my grass cut too. Do you live in a house or an apartment? This is a 3-bedroom house. I think some of you heard me before. And tell Gabe hi too. But in our house, we have this laundry room. It's probably the size of a bedroom. If I could figure out somewhere else to put the washer and dryer, we could make this a 4-bedroom house. It is just huge. Right now it houses a piano, some shelving for almost like a pantry type thing. And then we've got the laundry in there as well. So we had a split storm, LOL. A spit storm? Okay, what about cornmeal dumplings? This has come up several times here. Mine always fall apart. I have a video that I'm going to repost for you all because I have a lot more people who are following me now. But Aunt Susie helped me make cornmeal dumplings. And when I make them, they fall apart. And so I just get this, it's good. I guess you call it pot liquor. It's good. But sometimes I just want to bite down into a good hunk of cornbread. So, yeah, I'll try to find that video and repost it for you. Let's see here. Is ready for some dinner. Well, I've got chicken breast and the beanie weenies ready. That's we'll have a few left. Let's see. Dark, heavy rain clouds, Alabama. Never heard of cornmeal dumplings. And you know, when I first started talking about cornmeal dumplings, I said, Mom, I want to know how to do that. Mom said, well, I can't do it. It falls apart. I do not know what your grandmother did. I asked my Aunt Hattie. She said, I don't know. I can't do it. So I call her Aunt Susie, but she's close enough to me. She's a best friend, but she might as well. I keep washing my hands. Let's see here. What was I telling? Oh, anyway, she said, I know how to do it. So we sat around one day and learned how to do cornmeal dumplings. And what we always did, and maybe you're talking about the same thing, is we put them right on top of our collards or our turnips. And after they were done, we would just lay them right on the top of the pot, put the lid on it, and then just let them cook. Don't stir it. Don't mess around with it. Just let it sit there. And so that was our cornmeal dumplings. So if you're talking about something else that you did, you did it in a different way, I would love to know. So all right. And let's see, we're 2 minutes out. I think we've had enough, right? You want a close-up inspection? There's them beanie weenies. And there's my chicken and my cucumber. So, all right, guys. Hope you had a great day, a great weekend. I will not be able to do this tomorrow. I've got plans. So we'll see you along the way with some weather and some different things. So no collards. You don't do it with collards. So, all right. Y'all be careful. Good night. Bye.